AI and the Future of Regulation, adapting the Securities and Exchange Commission for the digital era.
Good afternoon, it turns out. Now, I apologize if I seem a little harried. I've been literally running around, so it's been that kind of week. Anyway, the discussion today will focus on AI and the future of regulation. In fact, we'll be showing you some of the things that we've been doing at the SEC. We'll be showing you some of the ways we've been thinking about, in particular, technology, in particular, artificial intelligence, because that is something that has been, frankly, been top of mind. The question, of course, being whether or not we regulate it or not. Staff has prepared a full speech on this topic, and I will try to go over it as much as possible, but I mentioned that I'm open to questions in case we have time for it. That's fine as well, in case you prefer to go that way. Is that okay, Olga, if ever?
Absolutely,
I can take
yes.
questions. That's the first slide. So distinguished guests, my fellow speakers, and all the organizers and participants of this event, good afternoon. It's an absolute pleasure to stand before you today to discuss the futures of policies and regulations in the fintech space. The digital era has ushered in unprecedented advancements in the technology, transforming the way we conduct business, we trade securities, we interact with the global economy, and all that. Now, but as the digital era continues to advance, the emergence of new technologies, and I emphasize this, such as artificial intelligence, presents both opportunities and obviously challenges for the SEC. And just like to make this clear, as SEC Commissioner, my policy has never changed in the last 4 to 5 years that I've been in this seat. And that is that innovation, new technologies, so long as it does not affect financial stability or the financial markets as a whole, should not be stifled. So let me just make it clear, innovation, in my opinion, should not be stifled. And right now, there's an incredible opportunity to leverage AI to enhance our regulatory functions and, of course, to transform the capital markets. So next slide, please. And just to give you an idea of some of the things that we've been doing, in 2021, the SEC formally launched the PhiliFintech Innovation Office to promote innovation in the fintech industry. This focuses on securing and approving sandboxes, implementing different projects within the SEC. Another project that we've been doing recently is the regulatory sandbox. Now, you might be familiar with the regulatory sandbox, which essentially allows players to come in under the ambit of the SEC in a safe space that we regulate on a trial basis. And one example of that most recently is the GCash app. The GCash app, if you've seen, has recently been allowed to to allow access to a broker-dealer through the GCash app. That gives access to roughly supposedly 80 million GCash users. I'll defer to GCash whether or not that's true. We started that out on a sandbox basis back in February or March this year, if I recall correctly. You might be interested to know we have one more app. I'm sure you know which app it is because there's only a few payment apps here in the Philippines anyway. But there's one more app coming out. I just can't name it. But there's another app coming out which will roughly be hoping to emulate the same thing. So this will help democratize and allow more access to the stock market now through your phone, separate from the normal apps. Now, and anyway, as I mentioned, one of our major projects will be the SEC Regulatory Sandbox. We're also allowing open finance later on this year. We'll have open finance sandboxes initiatives that we're looking to try, hopefully also within the year, which we're coordinating with different entities such as the BSP. Now, on the point of AI possesses the potential to revolutionize the way the SEC carries out our core function. Now, there's so much data that's being generated every day. We have AI-powered algorithms which can analyze data at unprecedented speed and scale. It enables us to detect, obviously, different patterns, identify anomalies, predict potential market abuses with greater accuracy and efficiency. And AI can also help us in terms of our compliance. On compliance monitoring systems by analyzing a lot of data very quickly. But the integration of AI, which is something we are, by the way, looking at integrating within the SEC, the integration of AI obviously brings its own set of challenges. As we embrace the potential of AI, it is crucial to ensure that it is deployed in a responsible and ethical manner. Transparency and accountability should be at the forefront of any AI implementation within any organization. And at the SEC, we are striving to strike that balance between technological innovation and at the same time, investor protection. I emphasize the point. AI can significantly enhance our regulatory capabilities. It can enhance any of your activities. but it should not replace human judgment and oversight entirely. It is vital to maintain a human-centric approach that combines the expertise of the Commission's personnel with the power of AI and create a symbiotic relationship that maximizes the benefits of both. And on that point, next slide, please. Allow me to show you some of the things that we have been working on at the SEC, some of which incorporates AI. We've invested at the SEC in building a robust digital infrastructure. And in fact, this doesn't have our picture, but just a few weeks ago, the SEC, together with the President, Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos, he came to the SEC office. We officially launched the different digital initiatives you see on screen with you today. The SEC eSecure, the eSearch, the SEC API Marketplace, the Electronic Registry application for market participants, and SecCheck app 2. I'll just go over these very quickly just so you get an idea. We have the eSecure, which is the Electronic SEC Universal Registration Environment, or eSecure. It's supposed to serve as our credentialing system. So before you can come in to operate with the SEC moving forward, if you want a certain level of capability, you go through this process so that it's effectively like eKYC, but for the SEC. Then we have the eSearch, which is the Electronics SEC Education Analysis and Research Computing Hub. No? And the SEC API Marketplace. Essentially, this will allow the public to obtain data from corporate reports submitted to us at the SEC. And we hope to make this, to be able to allow you to use it in a much easier manner. Another new service that we've rolled out is the eRamp, which is a dedicated system for the capital market professionals in institutions such as, well, broker-dealers. No? And also we have the SecCheck app. It lets users check whether an investment opportunity is legitimate or not. Now, on the point of AI, we also rolled out fairly recently something called Carol, the SEC's customer care online assistant. It will provide SEC stakeholders with real-time answers to their queries and concerns using a variation of AI. This app is a convenient 24/7 personal guide to the SEC services on the go. So, I get, why did I bother showing you this? I guess I wanted to make it a point that people realize that just because we're government, it doesn't mean that we're automatically behind. We are trying to keep track with industry. We are trying to keep track and keep a pace with our regulatees. To the effect that we've been launching all these different applications quickly as we can. This is just the second batch of, second batch of digital initiatives we had. We have actually more coming out, which hopefully you'll see within the year as well. Next slide, please. Now, I hope you'll let me touch on the point of AI. AI, as you've seen, can be an issue. As I mentioned earlier, the vast potential of AI is to such an effect that even the UN is now holding, through the UN Security Council, is now holding talks on AI. So this goes back to the question then, because it's a given, no? Artificial intelligence is something unique, something powerful, something everyone can use. The question then, should it be regulated? My take on it is yes, to a certain degree, it should be regulated, but not overly so. Because if you regulate it overly so, then obviously, like anything else, you won't be able to innovate. You won't be able to use it well. So that is something I want to emphasize. The SEC is looking at this, not at the level, of course, of the UN Security Council, but certainly it's something we're looking to regulate. And a prime example of that would be the concept of robo-advisors. If you're not familiar with robo-advisors is in effect is an AI, it can be in an app form, which advises you real-time, very quickly, on what stocks or what investments that you can invest in. We are looking to regulate that and to allow robo-advisory very soon within the Philippines. We have something being worked out this year as well. So, but we cannot allow it to just launch immediately without the appropriate, of course, protections in place. Because, of course, what happens if your robo-advisory unit suddenly just starts advising you to buy X amount of whatever stocks, causing some issues later on, no? So that's something, ineffectively, it's like short selling. I think I mentioned in multiple media interviews already that short selling is coming. Now, we've worked together with the Philippine Stock Exchange, and we're looking to have that happen as well in the Philippines under a regulated environment. The same for something like the robo-advisory and multiple other things. This goes back to my point. The SEC is trying to keep a pace with innovations. We're trying to keep an open mind in relation to this and to roll out properly. Next slide, please. And to give you an idea, of the things that we've been doing in relation to this space on the international field, we have the Global Financial Innovation Network, which is a organization set up by the UK FCA. And through that, we've been working on tech sprints, where there are applicants that will submit particular apps, including AI-related apps, which we will then review as regulators and then allow them to see and comment, allow us to see how they work, and then we will comment on how it should work in the standard regulatory field. So, and admittedly, not many people know of this, but the degree we're working on with GFIN and this tech sprints, we're already dealing with greenwashing. We're already dealing with applications on how this particular technology will work and determine greenwashing. In case you don't know what greenwashing is, it's essentially a company saying that their activities are green when technically they're not, meaning they're environmentally friendly or not. That's going to be a next major issue in the accounting world, by the way. And we have kept the pace of that, even to the extent that we've been reviewing on how to deal with it. So what are some of the key takeaways I want you to have from this discussion? At the end of the day, SEC, as all regulators, we are tasked with making sure that investors are protected from fraudulent activities and even the unintended consequences of valid activities. So in particular, the regulation of AI is important to consider the protection of intellectual property rights, potential job losses from widespread deployment of AI, and upholding trust and confidence and understanding how AI systems work. No? We need to consider the genuine risk of convergence of behavior following robo-advisory and other AI-related events. It is critical for regulators like myself to ensure accountability and security, especially for new technologies, new industries such as AI. So I guess to end, we are at a point where new technology, uncertainties present both risks and opportunities. But as with anything new, this can be welcomed by the market and investors with equal parts awe and fear. It's a tough balancing act, no, dealing with these two, meaning that what it means to encourage innovation while at the same time maintaining sensible and safe regulation. So I guess the final message I have for you today is the regulators are doing what we can. Come to us, talk to us, work with us. We're trying to make sure everyone is safe but still allowing innovation to thrive. That's perhaps the final message I have for you today. Thank you for inviting me this afternoon. I'm happy to be part of this discussion.